everyone. It's Alicia, and welcome back to the Eating Me podcast. I'm just trying to understand what is going on in this country as it relates to people who are here, regardless of their legal status or not, but just being treated like trash, to be quite honest. And, initially I was like, I don't know if I want to talk about this today on the podcast, but I feel like it's necessary. Y'all give me one second. If you're looking at this on YouTube, you probably can see my wire here. It's all bunched up. But anyway, yeah, I was really, trying to wrap my head around this. Like, should I even talk about this? But I thought, yeah, I need to talk about this. And one of the things that really pushed me to this point was the news that, many of us, if you haven't heard about this, a U.S. judge says that a 2-year-old was apparently deported to Honduras with no meaningful purpose. And there's an article that I found on NPR, and I'll share it here in the show notes as well, where they talk about just that situation rather. And so let me read a few of the things from the article, and then, we'll go into the thing. So at the start of the article says a Trump nominated federal judge in Louisiana said that a 2-year-old American citizen appears to have been deported with no meaningful process. This comes as the Trump administration has faced growing criticism for its hurried proceedings to remove as many non-citizens from the country as quickly as possible. U.S. District Judge Terry Doty wrote that the toddler identified as VML, that's the kid's name, or that's how they're just, using their information or their, to identify them. Hello, Alicia. VML had been sent to Honduras on Friday alongside her mother and sister, even as the court had sought to clarify the girl's status. He set a hearing on the case for May 16th in the interest of dispelling our strong suspicion that the government just deported a U.S. citizen with no meaningful process. And I mean, that's the start of the article. But I think for me at this point, I'm just wondering, like, where is the Supreme Court, right? Where are the people that are supposed to be, upholding the law and enforcing the law and holding those accountable that aren't following, you know, legal proceedings and, and procedures and things of that nature? Where are these people? I'm so like over it at this point. And, me being someone who works with children every day, this really like just shook me to my core. Because I'm thinking of a 2-year-old child. Like, if you can envision a 2-year-old child or a child, like maybe like, let's say under 5, right? They are so impressionable. They rely and depend on the adults around them. They've only been here on this earth, what, 2 years, 5 years? Like, you think about that. Me as a 46-year-old person, I'm still like, what the hell am I doing on this earth? Like, what is happening? Like, I'm constantly like questioning, things that I do, think, and say. But imagine being that young, put in this type of position, and, you know, there it is, right? Now, the kid's mother, I think the beginning of the article, I don't know if it said that or not. The kid's mother was also deported along with their other sister, this child's other sister. So the three of them were deported. And based off of this actual article, that the mother was going to her routine visit with let me look and see if I can find it. Make sure I'm saying all this right. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously. So one second here, y'all. I mean, the thing is, like, for me, it's just like she was going for her usual visit that she has as and I think she's considered like an illegal immigrant, right? And so she was going for that visit, and something happened during that visit that then prompted uh, the folks at this organization to then have her detained along with the two children, including VML, who is the 2-year-old child. This family, based off this article, consists of the mother, the two children, and a father. And the father was notified about this situation. And based off this article, he was given less or right around a minute to speak to the mother. And, but this is all over the phone. Speak to her. Meanwhile, she has no idea where she's going, right? And so he had that opportunity to talk to her. And from there, in less than a minute, everything was over. And he's still here in the United States, from what I know. And his family is now in Honduras. As I go on in this article, and actually I want to pause here because I found the information. So that information I was sharing with you all about the mom's visit to, it's called the Intensive Supervision Appearance Program. So ISAP is the acronym. So it says, according to a lawsuit filed on VML's behalf, the baby, we're talking about the 2-year-old, she and her family were taken into U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, custody on Tuesday while attending a routine check-in with the mother's intensive supervision appearance program, the ISAP. So ISAP, what is that? It is an alternative to detention for non-citizens who are in the country unlawfully. It is not immediately clear what was flagged during that meeting to trigger deportation proceedings for VML's mother and sister. But according to a court petition, her father, who had dropped the trio off at the meeting, was informed about an hour after the start of the meeting that his partner and 2 daughters had been taken into custody. This alleges that ICE agents reportedly refused to give VML's father her location and denied him the opportunity to speak for more than a minute to VML's mother. VML's father received a call from an ICE officer who spoke to him for about a minute, the filing said. The officer said that VML's mother was there and that they did not have much time to speak to each other and they were going to deport his partner and daughters. VML's father was able to speak to his partner for only about or less than a minute. He heard his daughters crying and his partner crying, the filing says. According to the suit, at one point, as VML's father tried to secure her release, New Orleans ICE Field Office Director Melissa Harper began interrogating the family's attorney about the father's immigration status and attempted to lure him into custody as well. I guess for me as well, I don't understand how people that work for these agencies justify their work, you know? Because given the information that I just shared with you based off this NPR article, you have to, I think it's either, you're doing this job because you need the money and you're like, whatever, and you feel like this may be your only source of income that you could possibly get, or you truly wholeheartedly believe that what you're doing is right. And it could be both, right? I don't know. It could be other things. But I just don't understand how you are handling a human being in such a way that completely shatters their whole livelihood based off some made up bullcrap that the United States has put into place. That's, well, not the United States, but basically the Trump administration has put into place for whatever reasoning that they're rounding up all these people. Because here's my thing. There have been illegal people in this country for years, for years. And wouldn't it be a better option to find ways to seek a legal process for them to remain here? I don't know. It's just something that for me, because my thing is this, you're going to spend the money to deport them. That's more stress and drama and division and all the things than it would be to find ways to legally get these people to become citizens of the United States of America. And of course, if they're not going to follow suit with whatever procedures that are put in place to actually gain legal citizenship, then fine. You'll have to do what you have to do in terms of, deportation or whatever that looks like. But I'm imagining that this family and many other families that we don't know about are willing to go through a process that would afford them citizenship to the United States. That's just me. I could be wrong. But I don't think that these people are here illegally and are attempting to remain in a illegal status just because, for shits and giggles. That is not it at all. Many of these people have sought asylum from places that are so dangerous that this was like their only option in their eyes was coming to America. That right there alone, people who have sought asylum in this country, we have taken in people from all over who have sought asylum, and there have been ways for them to eventually get to a point where they can become citizens. Like, this is not something new. And I think that's another thing too people need to realize is, like, this whole situation that we're dealing with right now is nothing new. It's not like Trump and his people have, like, discovered this crazy injustice and we must blah 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 blah. And that's what they're selling to people. That's the selling point, is that basically they have found all these injustices. They've got Doge and they're going in there, making sure that, no more money is spent wrongfully, and they're going to put the money in the right places. And you see where that's going. Nowhere. The tariffs. Oh, they were going to go in and, that was going to make this country rich by tariffing these different countries. And we've backed down on the tariffs. So none of these plans so far have really manifested into anything that shows, or that presents like we are winning as Americans in any of these fights. The tariffs, the Doge overspending, the immigration situation, nothing is proving that we are in a space where these things are positive and that it's necessary. Like, none of this stuff is necessary. Are there ways to enhance things? Obviously, yes. But one way to, create an enhancement around anything is to actually bring people together, right? And say, hey, let's come together and figure out ways to make things better, maybe in our country, whatever company, your family. Like, there are ways to do this where it can actually work, where people aren't being abused, killed, losing their jobs. There are ways to do this. And unfortunately, this administration just wants to just wreak havoc and cause more harm than good. Because there's nothing that I've seen so far that's really been like, "Oh, that made sense. I see why the administration did X, Y, and Z," right? Nothing's proven, in my opinion, that it's working out for the good of the American citizens. Nothing. And if there is something, let me know, because I don't see it. Like, I don't see it at all. And like I said, back to this here, it's just unbelievably, um, it's just heartbreaking to know that this child, along with her family, are put in a position where their whole livelihood, what they've known as quote unquote home, is all being blown up in their face, and they're going to have to figure out their lives, in a new place. Now, have they been to Honduras? I don't know. I haven't looked too much into that. I don't know if they're originally from Honduras. I'm assuming they are from Honduras, or, their family, their origins are from Honduras, or in Honduras rather. So I'm assuming, hoping, right, that they have friends and family there that can, like, help them during this horrible time, right? It's mind blowing to me that this is where we are. But at the same time, it's not mind blowing to me, because it's just the way things have operated for so long in this country. We're now seeing it, on a scale that we've never seen it before. Social media has opened up the doors to us being exposed to all the things, right? And so it can be good or bad, that exposure. But I think this in particular, we need to see this. We need to know about this, and we need to fight for the people that are being treated like this. I saw a video the other day, and maybe some of you all have seen it. It's been circulating throughout social media. Joy Reid actually posted it on Instagram. I don't know if you follow Joy Reid. She was on MSNBC at one point. She had a show called The Readout, which I really enjoyed. I mean, sometimes you have to take and you have to kind of like filter out what to watch, what not to watch on these different news platforms because some of it is just straight up crap. But I did enjoy The Readout, but she posted on Instagram a video of a child, and I think this was more like a simulation thing. I don't think it was a real court case, but it's basically to show what these cases look like. And this child may have been 3 years old, may have been 3 years old, that they had sitting in a courtroom. And the judge is asking this child, like, do you know what a lawyer is? Do basically just asking questions, just to see what this kid knows. But I'm like, okay, this is a 3-year-old child. Like, you can ask them some questions about some cartoons, right? What is Paw Patrol? They're probably gonna offer you some information on that. I don't know, something to that degree, right? But a lawyer, do you know what a lawyer is? Do you like asking him about like, does he understand what's going on right now? No, he doesn't understand what's going on right now. So much so in the video, they even show that they had to put headphones on the child, like I guess like noise cancellation, and it might have been too much for him. That's a child. That's a child. I don't get it. Like, I just don't get how this country or the Trump administration, not fled, but like just overwhelmingly like put in our faces that they were for the children. Like they were supporting the children. That's all about the children. It's all about the children. Meanwhile, we still have endless amounts of gun violence in this country, the school shootings, this situation with the mass deportations. Where is the safety for kids? Where is it? Even down to like healthcare, you know, the healthcare situation with kids and us educating the education system. I almost forgot about that. Department of Education, like, where is the care for the children? I don't see it. I don't see it. So all these things that they claim that they are about, completely contradicting themselves, particularly in this situation and in other situations similar to this, as it relates to children being harmed. This is harmful. This is dangerous. The thing about managing, not managing, but dealing with children is to keep them out of harm's way. We are the adults. We are supposed to be there for the children. We're supposed to make sure that they don't get in situations that are harm. But here we are putting these children in harm's way, ripping them away from their parent, their father, just breaking up homes. Nothing about this is beneficial to this family or any family that is going through something similar. There's no justification. And it's funny because here in the article, which I thought was like, wow, this is crazy. So it says here in the article, it says, according to the suit, at one point, as VML's father tried to secure her release, New Orleans ICE field officer director Melissa Harper began interrogating the family about the father's immigration status and attempted to lure him into custody as well. I had shared that already, but I wanted to go further down. It says, in an emailed statement to NPR, the Department of Homeland Security, which oversees ICE, defended its decision. This is what Tricia McLaughlin says. She works for the Department of Homeland Security. The parents made the decision to take the child with them to Honduras. It is common that parents want to be removed with their children, said Tricia McLaughlin, DHS's Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs. The agency did not respond to further requests for comment as to why McLaughlin implied that both parents had supported VML's deportation to Honduras when her father ostensibly remains in the United States. VML is just the latest to be ensnared in the messy legal process as the Trump administration has rushed to remove as many undocumented immigrants as it can. This is a crisis. This is a huge, huge crisis that is going to backfire, and it's already backfiring in ways we cannot imagine. I don't know what else we have to do in terms of humanity to say these are human beings. And I'm going to go even a step further. Like, this is going to maybe go over some people's heads. Maybe, I don't know. It doesn't even matter. Laws and how we govern and how we live day to day and all the things that we do to function in society has all been created and made up by other people, down to creating lines around the continents to create different countries and regions and cities and towns and all that. All that has been created. It has been created for various reasons, right? But it's a creation within itself. It's a creation that can cause major harm and divide. In many ways, that was some of the intention. But I just want you to think about that. This was all created by people that that more than likely are dead. Okay? Like, let's be serious. All that to say, we need to find ways to recreate what and how we live, not only in this country, but on this planet. There is plenty for everyone. This all stems from fear and scarcity and just evil. And we need to change that narrative. We can't keep fighting with one another. It's not working. It has not worked, which is why we stay in the state of war and division. And we see so much crime and all these different things because perpetuating violence just increases more and increases more violence, right? We need to start looking at each other with love and compassion and not get into this place of like, oh my gosh, you're going to take this away from me. So let me do this, this, and this to ensure that I'm going to be safe, right? But you're constantly in that on that hamster wheel of trying to make sure that you're not going to be, without. And I challenge people like, when was the last time you were truly without, right? When was the last time that you just completely were not able to like manage and navigate life? And I'm pretty sure most people can say hardly ever. These are all things that have been created and been put in our minds to think that this is how we have to operate. And I challenge us today to start seeing each other as human beings and thinking of ourselves, like putting ourselves in each situation and saying, would I want this to happen to me, my child, my mother, my close friend, whatever? Would I want that to happen? And if not, fine. We got to figure out ways to change this around because this is horrible. It's horrible. The article goes on to then talk about Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He was from Maryland and he was illegally deported to El Salvador and sent to the notorious Secot mega prison due to an administrative error. All of this, in my opinion, the deportations, the mistreatment of these people is an administrative error. And I don't know what has to happen in terms of this administration, but Supreme Court, if you can hear me and anybody else, you need to do something. Because sitting around twiddling your thumbs and collecting a check to be one of the highest judges in the land is not cutting it anymore. You need to actually do your job. Seriously. This it's disgusting. It's disgusting that this is where we are in this country, but we have enough people in place to make change, to create that change. And so my challenge to myself is to constantly move in a way where I'm constantly speaking out, where I am raising my voice, being that type of person that's going to put myself in a position of understanding that that could be me. That could be a family member of mine, right? It could be any of those things. And that's not the reason why I want to raise my voice. I'm raising my voice because I'm a human and I see the humanity in these people as well. And they don't deserve this at all. So let's continue to raise our voices. Like I said, I'm going to share this article in the show notes. Um, there's not anything that I can say about this administration that hasn't already been said. But what I will say is we have to keep raising our voices. We cannot let up on any of the things that we have been doing to show that we're not happy with this administration. And if we're truly going to stay in a mindset of thinking that we're in a democracy, then we need to act like we're in a democracy and fight against the powers that be, because they are not on that same page. They want this to be more of an authoritative, dictative type of environment, and we're seeing it unfold each and every day. And in order for us to stop that, we've got to get out here and we've got to let them know that absolutely not. Like, we're done. We are done. Thank you guys for this episode of the Enemy Podcast. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, rate the podcast. That I would greatly appreciate it. I'll keep sharing and keep, raising my voice, and I hope you'll do the same. All right, I love you guys, and I will see you next week. Bye.